Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day's going fantastic. Thanks for joining me for Try It Out Tuesday. Today we are creating a card. I love this because this little stamp set, it's from Papertrey ink, and it's the Corner Adorner June stamp set. It was very inexpensive, but I love the blackberries or raspberries on this little corner adorner. So I thought we would use this today, and I don't think I've ever used a Papertrey ink stamp. So we're going to just use this. There's a real thin plastic film over the back that I guess you just toss away, and then the stamps themselves are quality photopolymer, you could tell, but for inexpensive, it's a nice little stamp set. I did pick up the coordinating dies, were just as inexpensive, and I'll link everything down below, but I didn't realize the corner was this big, but it's so pretty. We have a blackberry tree that's right off of our back deck. It's actually growing underneath it, and then it trails up on one side of it. So that's what this reminded me of, and I love the blackberry. They are very messy, by the way, but they're so tasty. So I just think they're so pretty too. So that's what we're going to make a card today with that. And then for my sentiment, I've been wanting to use the sentiment strips from Simon Says Stamp. They're very inexpensive, and they are there's 4 in a pack. They're all the same, but I got the pack that says all things happy sentiment strips. So you are my happy, choose happy mail day. It's just a lot of fun, inspiring happies in there. So we're going to use that for our sentiment today. So we're going to do some stamping, and I'm going to stamp with my oxide inks. Instead of using the traditional greens for the stems and the leaves of my blackberries or raspberries, I thought we would use some grays and then add a little smokiness with a touch of black. So I added pumice stone first, and then now I'm just using my finger dauber and adding a little bit of black soot to the edges of my my leaves. I love the way this, if you're looking for a very elegant way to splash up your card, I think grays and blacks do that. Once I have this stamped, I'm going to go ahead and take the coordinating die and die cut this out. We're going to die cut it out before we add our berries and our flowers. This way, I don't have to line them up perfectly and then worry about chopping it off when I die cut it, because obviously the berries die cut a solid image. So I die cut it out, and you can see the berries and the flowers are left blank. So I'm going to take the berry image, ink it up with my dusty Concord ink, and do the same thing with my black soot. Just taking that finger dauber and adding a little bit of black ink to the side of the berries. And this creates the most perfect blackberry. Just love that. And since I did die cut it out first, it doesn't have to be perfect. Mine definitely are not perfect. They're not centered exactly perfect, but I still think I can get away with it, and I think it looks very pretty and elegant. So my berries are all done. Next, we have some little flowers in here, so I'll take the flower image in the stamp set, and I thought we'd just keep with the gray theme, so I'm going to use the pumice stone ink for my flowers also. Just ink those up and stamp those 3 flowers. There's a little center stamp, and I'm going to ink that up with my dusty Concord, and I'm going to dull it down a little bit with the top of my finger dauber. So I'm inking it up with my dusty Concord and then tapping it on my finger dauber just to dull it down, and love the way that looks. I just centered each one of those little flowers. Okay, now we're going to do some die cutting. So I'm going to create a frame. This is a dome frame from MFT. I don't know if they have this available, guys. It seems like all my MFT stuff is retired, but it sure is pretty. Any kind of frame you have would work. I die cut that out. I'm going to take the inside piece and we're going to emboss it using this embossing folder from Fun Stampers Journey. And I'm also going to do a piece of 3/4 inch strip of black cardstock. And we'll just do a double duty on that same embossing folder. You want to make sure that if you are using a plaid, you want to line up your background with that plaid so it's straight. Okay, I went ahead and adhered my background, so we have a little texture back there. And this piece is actually going to go on the inside of my card today. I thought it would be fun to decorate the inside of the card. So I'm going to set that aside for now. We're going to take some glue and go ahead and add our berries to our frame. We're just going to tack it to the bottom here and then also to the left. Lovely. Add a little more glue there. Once we have our berries added, we're going to go ahead and take our sentiment strip. I chose the one that says wishing you all that is happy. I'm just going to trim it down with my paper trimmer, and then I'm also going to use a friend die. This friend die is from the Hello Friend die set from Hello Bluebird. We're not using the Hello, just the friend. But these strips are really nice. You don't have to fuss with embossing powders or nothing. You just trim them. Although it is a little bit, I use my Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer to trim it down, but it was a little tricky for me to get it nice and proportioned from the top to the bottom. But other than that, I think if you had one of the sliders, I should have used my Fun Stapper's Journey trimmer to trim it. It probably would have been easier. But I trimmed down my sentiment, and I went ahead and glued it to the very bottom, tucking the right end behind the frame. And then I'm going to take my friend. Now, since it is kind of a very thin lined friend, I wanted to make sure it was glued to my panel. So I tacked it down to the left, and then also the D, the top and the bottom of it, to the right. That just saved me a little bit of time, and I think it looks like it's floating almost. I went ahead and add foam adhesive behind my frame. We're going to go ahead and align it with our background, making sure everything is nice and centered. And I just love the elegance of the smoky purple with the smoky leaves. I just think it looks really nice. Now we're going to open it up and decorate the inside. So I'm going to take that black embossed strip here. I already added adhesive behind it, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to hold it down and just use my pen or pencil you could use to mark a little bit below the 3/4 inch line. There's also another image of a berry and a flower. It's a smaller one in the stamp set. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing that I did with my berries for the front of the card. I'm going to add my pumice stone ink and do a little shading with my black soot. And we're going to stamp this stem portion all along that inked line. Then we'll add our berries like we did in the front. And then I added a few of the flowers kind of floating up also, just to fill it in a little bit more. And then also single berries a little bit lower, so we had a little more purple in there. Add a little bit more tape behind my embossed black panel here, and I want a little bit of the white showing, so we're going to lift it up a little bit. I'll use my scissors and trim the excess that's hanging over. And I love the way this looks. I usually don't decorate the inside as detailed, but I thought this would just be so pretty. I lost the eye to my friend, so I'm just going to use some black crystal drops, Nouveau crystal drops. These is ebony black. And then we're going to add a little bit of sparkle using some gems. These gems are from Studio Katia, and they are called iridescent snow crystals. And I'll link these down below too. They're so pretty. They have a little purple tint to them, so it's really picking up those berries. And then I thought we would add a little bit of extra sparkle with some of the diamond glitter glue drops from Ranger. I'm actually going to go around just the blackened area of the berries and the leaves also, just with a touch of glitter, so just kind of to stand out. I kind of want the gems to shine on the front, but I did want the berries just to pop a little bit more, so the glitter glue helps. I finished it off with some black and white twine. I just threaded it on the inside of the card and looped it around and tied a bow up towards the top. And that finishes my card for today, guys. I wish you a fabulous Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me. We will see you again soon. Bye-bye.